to the bold analysis. The president's Mount Kenya tour was a test campaign to gauge the popularity of Kenya Kwanza on Mount Kenya UDA chapter. And it's an undeniable fact that the Kikuyu nation is not going to be dependable for the president. And in this podcast, we look at a post-mortem meeting by a host of the UDA MPs from Mount Kenya on Thursday night in a Thika hotel, questioning, and of course, we're going to look at the hits and misses, the blunders that costed that president's tour. Kindly subscribe to our channel, click the notification bell, and like our videos. As I mentioned, I'm still shooting in Embu. Today, we are here to support Virginia, to the mother of 5 who is stranded, now homeless, to have a house. I have a deficit of 60,000 to complete this mission. So we are supposed to finish by tomorrow, leave here by tomorrow. But because it is a permanent house we are building, it will take a bit of some time for the whole week. So I'll leave the fundis with one of my team members who will camp here in Embu to make sure that the fundis work for the whole week so that the project can be done. And so I would want us to support that. And that's why we are doing last mile. Probably for today, tomorrow, if we can do a 100 bob challenge, I believe we'll be able to achieve this so that that house can be done. And for the first time, we are doing a permanent house. So that's why we've really dragged. It's one house, but really dragged. But of course, it's worth the cost. We are building for her, kwao mahali mama yao alizaliwa, because that is the only place we got land. Amepewa shamba huko. So she's going there to be the children. As I mentioned, one of the child with autism, we are trying to find out if there is a school, maybe if we can get some support, we'll try to mention that. And also the 3 girls who have eye problems and a shida mguu, they're also being taken to the hospital, and I'll get that report from my team later in the day. So thank you very much. Kindly support. Let's try. I think if we can do 100 more challenge between today and tomorrow, by the time we'll be leaving, I believe that now it will be done. And thank you very much. We had managed to bring in the cement and also to bring in mawe. Probably we'll just do the other bit that's remaining plus mabati na zile mbao za roofing, yeah, just to make sure that we do a good house. Then we'll also do the plaster there. It will be very important because I want that Virginia to have a permanent house, because hapo huwezi jua hapo ni place ko very floody. And I still repeat, as I'm still in Embu, kindly. But then let me tell you, the cost of kubeba material to the venue is half the price of those materials. Yes. Because barabara ni mbaya. A good example, someone alikuwa anatubebea bricks. Not bricks. Yes, this mchanga. Hey, I'm telling you, those people are asking for money. and because they're barabara. So, guys, this is where Virginia. Oh, so, guys, this is where Virginia and the children stay. It is a very small room, and as you can see, you can pan around so that they see, that I show them whatever is here. So this is where they stay. This is their bed. The mama au watoto wanalala wapi?
Mimi naitwa Virginia Murugi. Ningetaka kusaidiwa na nyumba juu ya watoto.
Na utashukuru. Na kuna mahali utajengewa ambayo utaanza kuhamisha. Ni kwa mzee ama ni mahali ulizaliwa? Kwenye. Mbona si kwa mzee? Mzee hana mahali. Yes, so we have a lot. We are going to build for them. Mahali nani alizaliwa.
then we will have to buy them the mattresses and the beds, and of course they need a bigger house so that it can accommodate the children. Watoto wanaenda shule. Ni wangapi wako na shida ya macho? Yes, so these three, wewe anaitwa Alex Mugambi. Yes, so if you see Grace, you can see Grace is so Grace na Alex na huyu wako na shida ya macho. So we are also going to do something. By the time we're here, we'll find out. Alafu kuna huyu mwingine ako pia na autism. So we are going to say that. Asante sana.
So let's also try that. Now, let's get to this. Thursday night, over 50 members of parliament who come from Mount Kenya and accompanied the president in his tour of Mount Kenya convened a post-mortem night meeting on allegedly the residence of one of the MPs, and that could be Alice Nganga, in Thika, on what exactly happened. And the report from this meeting, and expect this in the mainstream in the next 2 or 3 days, probably tomorrow, is about the complaint, what didn't work. I understand there is a contingent of MPs from Nyeri, and shockingly, even Eric Wamumbi did not attend, and he has said he's not going to vie for, he's not going to defend Mandera's seat, and MPs from Muranga and Nyandarua, majority of them did not attend. This was majorly Kiambu, bit of Kiambu, Meru, Tharaka, and also shockingly Nyandarua, yeah. So, what exactly happened? Now, I wanted to listen to this bit. When President Ruto met MPs and governors in Mount Kenya in preparations for this trip, there are some demands that were put by the MPs. The members of parliament demanded that the president to give them patronage of the market projects, that the projects that are being done by national government in their respective areas, they should be visualized, or rather be mentioned as the people who pushed, or rather they should be credited for pushing. Remember, the link between the national government and the people is the National Assembly, is the MPs. Then the counties are actually on ground with the MCS. So they demanded that they be given the patronage for markets and the last mile connectivity. So in return, they also gave the president their CDF, some of their CDF projects for launch. But interestingly, if you followed that trip, on last mile connectivity, the president mentioned the PS for energy more without giving credit. But in some instances, on barabara, he used to say, kwamba huyu mbunge wenyu amenisukuma sana. And I know you would listen to those snippets where he say, mbunge wenyu amenisukuma sana, ama nyinyi ndio mlituma, ama mkumtuma. So there will be that. But MPs feel they were not given credit for the market projects. But remember, there is a problem there. The market is a county government project. The national government is just coming in because they're using affordable housing money to do them. But the markets will be built. Ile pesa affordable housing, some of them is going into that project tier markets. So, that is why the president was not easy to do it. And that was not granted. You will also understand that in Larry, Alice Nganga has been in fight with Omatangi. She could not even be given the microphone to address the crowd moments after Wamuratha and Ichung'wa were heckled. So there was also a point on what exactly Ruto had done. Now, the second issue was making a pronouncement on retaining Kithure Kindiki as the running mate and probably doing a 2032 that after him, Kindiki will pick up. Now, I would want you to listen to this clip. There was one MP, this could have been one of the MPs, I think this is Chung or so, someone who mentioned about 2032, and that was in Embu, if I'm not wrong, Meru.
Mheshimiwa Rais, mimi hapa niko nyumbani sababu mimi ni marafiki wa hii watu wa Tharaka. Tumetembea nao miaka mingi, na vile rais amesema, mnakumbuka mwezi wa 5, mwisho wa mwezi wa 5 2022. Si tulikuwa hapa Kadhwana? Na nakumbuka hivyo Mheshimiwa Rais umesema hawa wangwana wa Tharaka Nithi wakilia machozi juu ya Kithure Kindiki. Si ni kweli? Lakini leo hakuna machozi sababu huyu mungwana Kithure Kindiki ndiye naibu wa rais wa Kenya wa leo, sababu ya kuwa muungwana, mvumilivu, muungwana, mwenye heshima na mtu wa kufanya kazi na watu wote na kuunganisha watu wote. Si ni kweli? Nyinyi mnaona tukiendelea pale 2027 tupee William Ruto tamu ya pili. Akimaliza nani ataendelea kutoka hapo? Ati nani ataendelea? Nani ataendelea? Mumesema 2027 William Ruto amalize yake 10. Ni kazi bila breaks. Ni 10 bila breaks. Tukimaliza hiyo twende kwa Kithure. Kithure.
Now, after this, the statement on Kindiki running mate slot was stopped. And they are saying that they received a note from the president's handlers that they should go silent on the issue of Kindiki running mate slot. Now, let me tell you, the breaking point for Ruto and Mount Kenya is going to be on Kindiki. And that is why some of us say that it was a mistake to change guard. It was a bit too early. It was not strategic to impeach, to remove Rigathi Gachagua. Now, you will see that in the current arrangement with Raila seemed to be carrying the Western Coast leg. That's what successfully William Ruto wants. He wants it so that Coast will not come on table and say that, no, we also want to be supported, we also want this. So you believe if you have Raila, you'll carry Nyanza, Coast, and part of Western. So, you know, if you suit the ego of Raila, you give it to Raila, then Raila divides among them. You save yourself the hassle of going after each and every community. Now, Mount Kenya demanded, and they were asking that Ruto should actually allow Kindiki to sprout. Kindiki should emerge so that when he emerges, the MPs coalesce around him. That way, they will be able to sell pitch that vote for Ruto in 2027 because in 2032, he's going to support our own Kithure Kindiki. Remember, that was the same narrative that Uhuru Kenyatta used in 2013, that after kumi yangu, kumi yako, and it was used actually in 2017, that kumi yangu, kumi yako. So they have been pushing for that, but the president's team were very keen on not pushing that, and that is a red flag. I did analyze, and I also told you that one of the things that happened here is it's a clear message that that slot is not guaranteed for Kindiki. And Ruto was also cautious because he understood that Raila Odinga and the team at the other side, they're also waiting for what he's going to say. That was demanded and that failed. So the first request on patronage on markets, the second one on Kindiki running mate slot, was not also taken. The other issue was, in fact, what Ruto then said is, I know that I formed government with you and I would not leave you. He made that assurance at some point, but he was non-committal on Kindiki kwamba naibu wangu in 2027. Now, the other issue was about mobilization to visualize UDA. Yes, of course, money was given. The MPs wanted to take that opportunity to visualize, to sell UDA, because Rigathi Gachagua is soon coming up with a party that he says will identify with Mount Kenya. So because the president was going there a month before Rigathi unveils that party, it was in the interest of these MPs that when they're mobilizing, they should actually have UDA merchandise. They should be putting on UDA merchandise. But if you are keen, you look at the video of Boda Boda guys who are paid to move around with the president. Those jackets were written, Kazi Kwanza, not UDA. Remember, UDA is Kazi ni Kazi, but they were written Kazi Kwanza. And again, they were not even yellow. So MPs were also instructed that they were not going to visualize the UDA. Remember, even as we talk, the party is doing grassroots elections. Since then, there is no grassroots elections that have been done by that party. And even when Malala was the Secretary General, Malala moved across this country, and even now Hassan Omar moved across this country doing university UDA chapter. No one has ever stepped to do a single activation in Mount Kenya. So MPs were denied that opportunity to visualize UDA because according to them, that is the only party of choice. And that also, that order might also have come because the president is not sure. He's not really sure that he's going to do on that. The other issue is on Uhuru legacy. Of course, the president went quiet on Thiba Dam. He was in Kirinyaga. He went quiet on Thiba Dam. He was on that Maua Canal. He went to launch Lot 1, only Lot 1, but really never commented about the huge projects like the dams in Mount Kenya. And on that note, oh my goodness, someone should share this video with the leaders from Embu. I have a beef with you. Do you know that mali tunajenga hakuna maji? And we had two options, ya kwenda kuchukua fresh water, or now we are forced to pay someone filling water with a motorbike, and that person, you have to pay him 20 bob per kibuyu. It's relatively far. Hakuna maji. Oh. Ata kitaka, I wish wanionyeshe mahali. We talk here with our members here. We have so many people from Embu coming from this place. Ili tuchimbe hata maji. Hakuna maji. Come on. Come on. Yani it's a big problem in that place. And understand that's where Ruku comes from. That is where Muturi comes from. They really needed to do something. The only thing that MPs agreed with the president, and he did, was not mentioning Raila Odinga's broad-based shenanigan. He said that was going to cost them. Now, that is the only thing that the president did. Now, I want us to explain for you the Sagana fiasco. I want us to look at that Sagana issue. But remember, we are building for our mom, this lady Virginia. Kindly, we are now doing today and tomorrow 100 Bob challenge. Send in that so that we can support that great vision to make sure that she has that house. Sagana, do you realize that for the first time, the president never convened that round, that bonfire meeting with the leaders? Was it supposed to happen? Yes. So this is it. On 2nd of April, that was on Wednesday last week, in Nyandarua, after the events of Nyandarua, Olkalao, and that is Muranga, where he visited Kangema, and that was Kangema and Maragua, the president was supposed to meet the MPs that Wednesday evening in Sagana State Lodge. But then what happened? One of the State House operatives sent messages to MPs that the meeting had been rescheduled, since the president was actually the president was rushing to Naivasha to attend the second Mashariki Cooperation Conference. And if you look at this photo, this is the photo of the president attending that conference. That conference was bringing together the intelligence bosses probably across the continent. And I'm so sure, number one, this MPs understand this was not an impromptu meeting. This is something that was in the president's diary. So the claim that he was going to attend it is not right. It's not true, because if that meeting was not true, and the message was it was rescheduled, the president left Mount Kenya tour without that meeting. This is the meeting that happened. We must come together in intelligence-driven united action to confront emerging security threats, including climate change and disinformation, as part of Africa's path to peace, resilience, and self-reliance. In Naivasha, I joined delegates at the Second Mashariki Cooperation Conference, a rapidly growing forum now bringing together over 60 intelligence and security services from across Africa and the world. The president could not skip this meeting. So even if he did attend that, he knew that this was a meeting that was likely going to happen. Now, so that is what happened with Sagana, and the meeting never happened. Them questioning, it was never done. With the growing Rigathi influence in Mount Kenya, MPs felt that President's shield is a bit weak, and without proper groundwork on development, they may not withstand the Mount Kenya storm that might come. The Mount Kenya might actually send them packing if they are not, and that is why these matters are being raised. When the president enjoyed resilience and reception from the voters, but the voters vented their frustrations on MPs by actually heckling them in front of the president, something that cannot go without mention. More pressing issue is another blunder by the president to absolve himself from Rigathi Gachagua impeachment on the Monday night interview that preceded the rally, saying he begged MPs to spare Rigathi Gachagua, but MPs defied him. But you and I know very well that the president made a personal effort, making calls to the MPs to impeach Rigathi Gachagua, and of course they are saying the president was begging them that his legacy is not going to achieve his legacy if he continues to work with Rigathi Gachagua as his deputy, with the claim that they will be convened to choose Rigathi's successor, but that there was no PG to choose Rigathi's successor. Ruto played his side, and that really is something that didn't go well. It is, however, in public domain that the president was the mastermind of that impeachment. Now, there are some 5 blunders that MPs are regretting on the president's work. The first blunder is the uncertainty on Rigathi on Kindiki's running mate slot. MPs would actually want that Kindiki to hold the side of the stool. However, the president is against the Mount Kenya caucusing. He would not want other regions caucus. But Rigathi tried even caucusing before he was impeached, and he was slapped by that tribal thing. Now, the other regions are caucusing, but Mount Kenya caucusing is actually being discarded. The president is dismantling that caucusing, and that's why some of these meetings are actually led really highly night secret meetings. But as we get them, because we do analyze Mount Kenya politics, and so we can always get wind of this. The reason why this caucusing is being discouraged is because it will boost the bargain. And when they caucus, you never know. When they caucus, they can choose which side to join. When there are many, they might come with demand, and if you don't meet that demand, they cross over to Rigathi Gachagua. So that is why, and rather any other opponent, and that is why the president is against caucusing. But I still say and repeat this: our democracy is evolving, but we are not yet there. For the nature of our politics, it is a big risk to enter into a political marriage without conditions. Politics is never gentlemen, it's never friendships. But so they should never fall on that. And so I agree with Rigathi when they say they need structured talks. Even Orengo was telling Raila Odinga that don't have gentleman agreement. You need structured agreements. Combating Rigathi Gachagua through state machinery is creating a big backlash, since the GEMA nation would likely sympathize with him. There's an attempt to confine Rigathi to Mount Kenya. And even with that, he was just, goons were sent on him in a church in Kiambu. Sometimes I think that was in Kiamba. And then the same thing happened in Mwiki. Now that kind of approach is not auguring well, because it doesn't really serve the purpose. Number 2, the other issue, which is another mistake, is apart from the affordable housing markets, the president was involved in Kalongolongo projects, launching Kalongolongo launches. The Kalongolongo launching is a mistake. Why? It is a mistake because it underscores the development pitch. For example, we did analyze that, and I remember me showing you that there is somewhere, and that could have been a project in Muranga, where the project is a billion project, and what the president is launching is a generator. It was an irrigation scheme and a generator. The same to the sewage, the sewer line in Maua. The Maua sewer line was even launched back in 2017. It was relaunched, and whatever was being launched is a man-made terrace, a man-made tunnel. And people look at it and say, now this is Kalongolongo. There's some areas where there's some launches that are being done. They're launching a very minute thing, and the cost of that launch is high. So That is why they're also feeling it is working against it. The other fourth blunder was Muturi sacking. And the president made this mistake this way. Yes, he wanted to go to Mount Kenya. He would have waited to finish the tour, then sack Muturi. Why it was an anticlimax? We sack Muturi ahead of Mount Kenya tour, but then it propelled the narrative that Mount Kenya people are being chased from government. Remember, throughout that tour, Moses Kuria never attended. Mithika Linturi never attended. Njeru, the guy from Naivasha who was in the lands docket, never attended. Even the former CBK governor, Njuguna Ndung'u, was nowhere in the picture. There are several other people that were reshuffled from government. The president needed to bring them. In fact, of everyone, he needed to get Moses Kuria. When you get Moses Kuria, you don't give regarding the impetus to complain about Mount Kenya people being chased out of government. So chasing Rigathi, sacking Muturi at a time that you know, and you know, the whole Muturi, even if the president, in fact I feel the president would have sacked Muturi the first time that he mentioned about that issue of Kisha mtoto yake. Now this other pitch of incompetence was actually a big mistake. Because wananchi, I've been around this place. I see old grannies wanna watch kwa nini, they call the Tata. Wanna watch news in Noro and these Kiko stations. They know very well Muturi amefukuzwa, like where we are building, it's Muturi's place. They know very well Muturi amefukuzwa kwa sababu aliongelea abductions ya watoto. And they know that. Then the president comes up to say incompetence. It was a big mistake, and you see the way it even gave Muturi more fodder to talk about the corruption. Ladies and gentlemen, that is a bit of it, and that is why Mount Kenya MPs coalesced, converged in Thika to do that post-mortem. Kindly support our mission. We are doing last mile 100 bob challenge so that we can achieve the target. Thank you.